In this video, we'll begin to look at some more of the problems, or we'll continue looking at some of the word problems in Chapter 5, Section 2. And this particular one is going back to graphing, but it's an interesting problem. And it says that we want to write a system of linear equations that has the ordered pair as its solution. So in the first problem, we have the point x is 3 and y is 5. So I'm simply going to graph that point there and say that is my point. X is 3 and y is 5. Now, the easiest way to solve this particular problem, and again, we did talk about this in class quite a bit, but the easiest way to solve this problem is to find a point on the y-axis. Any point actually will do. So if I were to use this point here, then I could calculate the slope, which happens to be down 2 and right 3. So that would be a slope of negative 2/3. And we can see that the y-intercept there is 5, 6, 7. And so we get y is equal to mx, negative 2/3, x plus 7. And I can continue and put some more points down there if I want. Down 2, right 3. Down 2, right 3. And I can go backwards in the other direction, up to left 3. And so that would be my line there. Now, for the second line, I just need another line that's going to also pass through that point 3, 5. So I'm going to pick another point on the y-axis. So if I were to pick this point here, then my slope would be up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3. So the slope of this green line then would be simply 1. 3 over 3, which is 1, and the y-intercept would be 2. So I would have the line y is equal to x plus 2. And you can see that simply going up by 1 each time, whichever direction I go, I would have my two lines. If I were to try to draw a nice straight line through those, and the green line, not the straightest line, but you get the picture. And these are my two equations then. Y is equal to x plus 2, and y is equal to negative 2x plus 7. All I need to do is find a point on the y-intercept, calculate the slope between my given point, 3, 5, and the point I plotted on the y-intercept and the y-axis, and then construct my equation using that slope and the y-intercept, and we're done. Okay, then we'll go on to number 22, similar type of a problem. So hopefully you can see how this works. I want my point to be x is negative 2, y is 8, and that should give me this point right here. And I'm going to pick any point on the y-axis. So if I were to pick this point, you can see that I now go down 1, right 2, so I have a slope of negative 1/2 and a y-intercept of 7, so I would have the equation y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 7, and that doesn't look right. I want to go up 1, left 2, and so that should put me here, up 1, left 2, and again down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, etc. All right, so that would be my red line there. Now for my green line, again I'm passing through negative 2, 8, and I'm going to pick any point on the y-axis. Let's pick y is equal to 3. So to get to my point, from negative 2 comma 8, I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. So I have m is equal to, and this is negative also, negative 5 over 2. B is equal to 3 in this case. So y is equal to negative 5 halves x plus 3. So if I were to select another point, down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 1, 2, over 1, 2, sorry. Should put me there. And plot a few more points, and I end up with a line that looks like that. And so those are my two lines there. So if you have any given point and you're looking for a pair of a system of linear inequalities, then all you need to do is take the given point, plot a point on the y-axis, draw a line through it. You can calculate the slope between those 2 points. You'll know what the y-intercept is, write your equation, and do the same thing with a different point on the y-axis for the second equation. And there you go. So in this particular one, our first equation or second equation, negative 5 halves x plus 3. The first equation, y is equal to negative 1 half x plus 7. Let's go on to the next problem. So in this next problem, a math test is worth 100 points and has 38 problems. Each problem is worth either 5 points or 2 points. All right, how many of each point value are, how many problems of each point value are on the test? So we have two different kinds of questions. We have an X, let that be equal to 5-point questions. It's actually the number of 5-point questions. Then we have let Y will be the number of 2-point questions. All right, well, what do we know? We know that there are 38 problems. So one thing we know is that X plus Y, the number of 5-point questions, and the number of 2-point questions has to equal 38. Again, we can solve this as we've done for other types of questions like this by isolating the y. Y is equal to negative x plus 38. Second, we know that if x is the number of 5-point questions, then 5 times the number of 5-point questions plus 2 times the number of 2-point questions has to equal 100 points total. And so we are going to substitute negative x plus 38 in place of y, recalling that negative x plus 38 is another name for y, and we'll get 100. So 5x minus 2x, and then distributing the 2 to the 38 gives me 76 is equal to 100. 5x minus 2x is 3x, plus 76 is 100. Subtracting 76 on both sides gives me 3x is equal to 24. Divide by 3, and we get x is equal to 8. So 8 would be the number of 5-point questions, and we know that there's a total of 38, so there has to be 30 2-point questions. Now, if we were going to double check, we know that 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 times 30, which is 60, and 40 and 60 does indeed equal 100, and so we get the final answer there. So the number of 5-point questions, 8, the number of 2-point questions, 30. All right, we are going to go on to another problem here then. All right, in this next problem, number 26, an investor owns shares of stock A and stock B. The investor owns a total of 200 shares with a total value of $4,000. How many shares of each stock does the investor own? So we can use A and B, or we can use X and Y, doesn't matter. So we'll let X be the number of shares of stock A, Y be the number of shares of stock B, and we know that he has a total of 200 shares. So X plus Y is equal to 200. Next, we know that if you multiply $9.50 times the number of shares of stock A, that would be 950X, plus 27Y, you should get a total of 4,000. So this is very similar to the drama club performance, adult tickets, and student tickets. Also similar to the tubes, where we had person tubes and we had cooler tubes. So here is just X number of shares of stock A that are valued at $9.50 each, Y number of shares of stock B valued at $27 each, for a total value of $4,000. So if we were to solve the first equation for Y, X plus Y is 200, subtracting X on both sides, we would end up with Y is negative X plus 200. And now we're ready to begin. We know that 9.5 times X plus 27 times negative X plus 200 has to equal 4,000. 9.5X minus 27X plus 27 times 200. 27 times 100 is 2,700. 27 times 200 would be 5,400 is equal to 4,000. Now, when we simplify here, we get 9.5 minus 27, or negative 17.5 X plus 5,400 is equal to 4,000. And we're going to subtract 5,400 on both sides, leaving us with a negative 1,400 is equal to negative 17.5 X dividing by negative 17.5, and we end up with, bring in the calculator again, 1,400. The negative divided by negative will be positive. 1,400 divided by 17.5 is equal to 80, which means that the investor has 80 shares of stock A. So 80 shares there. And if he has a total of 200, that must mean that he has 120 shares of stock B. And we can check to make sure that we have the right answer by multiplying 9.5 times 80 plus 27 times 120 should equal 4,000. And so we have 9.5 times 80, and that is 760. 27 times 120 is equal to 3,240, and 3,240 plus 760 is equal to 4,000. So it checks out, and we have the answer to both of those questions. All right, we'll stop this video at this point.